Our meeting is now recording. It's 10 a.m., so we can begin.
Very good. Thank you. I hereby call to order this meeting of the Arizona Boxing and Mixed Martial Arts Commission. Today is Wednesday, February 15th, 2023, and the time is 10 a.m. Would those commissioners that are in attendance please identify themselves and state as to whether they are here in person or via phone or via Google Meets?
This is Joe Pennington. I'm participating via telephone.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is Scott Fletcher. I, too, am participating by telephone. Very well. Let's move into B. We have a full agenda today. B is our new business. B1 is pursuant to ARS sections 5-227, 5-228, and AAC R19-2-C604 for persons over the age of 36. The new license application submitted by Mr. Luis Manuel Iniguez for a 2023 professional MMA combatant license. Mr. Bello, you speak to this application, please.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. So Mr. Luis Iniguez has, it appears that he's medically stable. He does have a pretty decent record, 5-2 as a professional. His last bout was in July, which I'll note that he did lose by a KO. But I did have some time to speak with him regarding his training regimen, and he let me know that he trains 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. He spars twice a week, runs 3 times a week, and does strength and conditioning 4 times out of the week. He said that he feels very confident about his upcoming bout, and he has not experienced any recent injuries. So he does have a pretty standard regimen for an athlete of his caliber, and I think that he'll do just fine. So I do recommend his approval.
Thank you, Mr. Vella. Commissioner Pennington, any thoughts regarding this application?
Mr. Chairman, I have no questions about the application.
Okay, I feel similarly.
This is Commissioner Feinstein. I'm here via Google Meets. You guys got started at 10 o'clock and 30 seconds. I didn't get to say hi.
We're glad to have you. Welcome. Do you have any questions about this application? We're on B1 right now.
Yeah, no, I heard it. I do not.
Very good. Well, welcome. We're glad to have a full complement of commissioners. The chair would be open to a motion if there is one.
Mr. Chairman, I move that pursuant to ARS 5-227, 5-228, and AAC R19-2-C604 that we grant a new license for as a 2023 professional MMA combatant for Mr. Luis Manuel Iniguez as a fighter over age 36.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Commissioner. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Congratulations, Mr. Iniguez, and best of luck going forward. B2 is also pursuant to ARS sections 5-227, 5-228, and AAC R19-2-C604 for persons over the age of 36. The new license application submitted by Miss Melissa Parker for a 2023 professional MMA combatant license. Mr. Vella, will you speak to Miss Parker's application, please?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Miss Parker is also a pretty experienced professional, 3-3. She seems to do very well. Her losses were by way of unanimous decision in her last 2 bouts, but she does feel strong about her upcoming bout based on what her camp expressed to me. I was not able to get details regarding the training regimen for Miss Parker, and the promoter did advise me that her bout this coming weekend has actually been canceled, but everything checked out as far as her medicals go, and I still would like to press on with recommending an approval as she's submitted everything to us timely, and this will help, pave the way for the rest of the year for her.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Vella. Commissioners, thoughts, questions regarding Ms. Parker's application?
None for me, Mr. Chairman.
And
thank you, Commissioner.
none for me, sir. None
okay,
for me, Mr. Chairman.
I too have no further questions. Chair would be open to a motion if one exists.
Mr. Chairman, I move that pursuant to ARS 5-227, 5-228, and AACR 19-2C604, that we approve the new license application submitted by Ms. Melissa Parker for a 2023 professional MMA combatant license.
Mr. Chairman, I'll second the motion.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, 3-0. Let's press on in some promoters licenses. B3 is pursuant to ARS sections 5-227, 5-228A, B, and E, and 5-229. The renewal license application submitted by Mr. Roland Sarria, doing business as Mochi LLC, for a 2023 promoter's license. Mr. Vella, will you speak to Mr. Sarria's application, please?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. So Mr. Sarria submitted everything to us timely for this renewal. He does present, based on the investigative memo, a stable financial position. The investigative memo did highlight the concerns that we had previously back in September 2019 with the unsanctioned events. What I will say is that in my experience in working with Mr. Sarria, he has been cooperative and compliant in everything we've expressed to him that we need from promoters, and I think that he's done a great job with his current matchmaker in making sure that everything is up to par. So I do recommend his approval for renewal, and I look forward to Rage in the Cage putting on more events in 2023.
Terrific. Thank you, Mr. Vella. Commissioners, what are your thoughts about Mr. Sarria and Mochi LLC?
Mr. Chairman, when I first came on the commission, roughly 20-something years ago, Mr. Sarria was the only promoter doing MMA. He has grown as well as that sport has grown. And so I have no real concerns or issues. I just want to thank Mr. Sarria for his attention to the situation as it is today and his work with the other promoters and matchmakers. So I have no real concerns.
Thank you, Commissioner. Mr. Feinstein.
I'd just like to say that I appreciate that, we had some pretty clear stipulations about granting a license to Mr. Sarria, and I'm glad that he's been able to do everything we asked of him, and given his long history of promoting the sport in the state, I'm hopeful that he'll continue and bring us some great events.
Very good. Thank you. I'll echo your sentiment. Mr. Sarria, we really appreciate having you aboard. We appreciate the history we have with you and look forward to more great things. The chair would be open to a motion if there is one.
Mr. Chairman, I move that pursuant to ARS 5-227, excuse me, 5-228 A, B, E, and 5-229, that we grant a renewal license application for Mr. Roland Sarria, doing business as Mochi LLC, for a 2023 promoter's license.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have a motion. Is there a second?
I second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Congratulations, Mr. Sarria. We look forward to more of your events. Motion carries unanimously. We move on to B4, which is also pursuant to ARS sections 5-227, 5-228 A, B, and E, and 5-229, the renewal license application submitted by Miss Amy Woodiwiss, doing business as OG Boxing LLC, for a 2023 promoter's license. Mr. Vella, will you speak to this application, please?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. So there have been some issues, not to the fault of OG Boxing, but there's been some issues with regard to the licensing procedures for this particular application. It appears that OG Boxing had gone through a sort of transition of ownership, and so we've had to do more extensive research and everything internally. And unfortunately, our financial investigators have not yet been able to complete that to give me an investigative memo to share with the commission. And so at this time, it would be my recommendation to table this item, or to approve the renewal contingent upon a positive financial investigative memo. But I'll leave that up to the discretion of the commission, whichever you feel is necessary.
Mr. Vela, tell me, does OG have anything tentatively scheduled in the near future, or is the table going to be just fine?
So I believe a table would be just fine. They did initially have March 11th on the docket, but they've let me know that they won't be moving forward with March 11th. So I don't see any issue for tabling the item.
Okay, that's my druthers as well. I think we should get all our ducks in a row and do it again next time we get together. So let's go ahead and table B4, and we will get back to that next time we're together. B5 is also pursuant to ARS sections 5-227, 5-228 A, B, and E, and 5-229, the renewal license application submitted by Mr. Christopher Villareale, doing business as Thunderbolt Boxing LLC, for 2023 promoter's license. Mr. Vela, you speak to Mr. Villareale's application, please.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Villareale, his application came back completely stable. Everything looks fine and does check out. When I spoke with him, he expressed to me that although last year there was some complications internally, he wasn't able to essentially schedule, or he decided not to schedule events, but this year he plans on being active again and scheduling more events on the calendar. So I'm comfortable with the application, and I do recommend his approval.
Thank you, Mr. Vela. Commissioners, thoughts about Thunderbolt Boxing?
Mr. Chairman, I have no questions about the application.
Thank you, Commissioner. Mr. Feinstein, any thoughts?
No questions for me.
Okay. No, I think the events we have done with them went well, and I'm glad they're back. We have a full complement of promoters heading forward, it looks like. The chair would be open to a motion if there is one.
Mr. Chairman, pursuant to ARS 5-227, 5-228 A, B, and E, and 5-229, I move that we approve the renewal license application submitted by Mr. Christopher Villareale, doing business as Thunderbolt Boxing LLC, for a 2023 promoter's license.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Mr. Chairman, I second the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Congratulations, Mr. Villareale. Look forward to more Thunderbolt Boxing going forward. B6 is pursuant to ARS sections 5-227, 5-225, 5-228, A, B, and E, and 5-229, the new license application submitted by Mr. Michael Landers, doing business as Southeast Asean Arts Alliance, for a 2023 promoter's license. Mr. Vela, please tell us more about this application.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. So this is a new license application, as stated on the agenda. Mr. Landers is here on the call with us, and if you'd like some comment from him, I'm sure he'd be happy to tell us about the organization. He intends to do Muay Thai events, and he seems very eager. Everything with his application did check out, and I do recommend the approval of this application.
Thank you, Mr. Vela. Mr. Landers, are you with us?
Yes, sir, I am here.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us. Please take the floor. Tell us what you're hoping to do.
Yeah, so the Southeast Asian Arts Alliance is a nonprofit organization within the state of Arizona. We have been putting on amateur Muay Thai competitions since 2017, and we've had great success on creating a community around Southeast Asian arts and Muay Thai, to where we want to expand our efforts and not only be able to put our former athletes on professional stages, but to hold those professional stages and bring keep that community here in Arizona. So we're hoping to kind of get more involved in the professional manner and grow that community even further here moving forward in 2023 and on.
Well, thank you. We're glad you're here. I had some time to go through your website and see your history, and it's impressive what you've been able to do. Mr. Vela, tell me about our ability to put on professional Muay Thai events. Are you comfortable with our personnel and our ability to do so?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, and I was going to mention that in our information reports, but I saw Bob Carmel on the call today, and Bob and I have discussed some pro-am Muay Thai events that may be coming in the near future. Ruff does plan on doing that on March 25th, and essentially I am comfortable with the personnel. Bob Carmel's group has a lot of experience, and so we would utilize many of his officials who are intimately familiar with the sport, and just to kind of start the commission out with our professional Muay Thai events. And ultimately I think that we have some very capable folks here in Arizona that will do a great job.
Perfect. Thank you. It's a great sport. We have a really significant community here, very much involved in it, and bringing, I think, professional Muay Thai to them was a really exciting proposition. Commissioners, what are your thoughts?
Mr. Chairman, just a question for Mr. Landers. Do you plan to exclusively do Muay Thai, or do you have other sorts of Asian combat sports in mind?
As of right now, we are focusing on Muay Thai. We want to get good at doing that and get a repeatable process down to where that show is in and of itself recognizable before we expand into other Asian combat sports. But it's not off the table. It just hasn't been discussed yet within our organization.
Thank you, Mr. Landers.
Commissioner Feinstein, thoughts?
No, other than just to say, as a sort of selfishly, as a practitioner and fan of Muay Thai, to be able to put on professional shows here in Arizona is something that I'm really excited about, and hoping that the commission can support you in doing that.
Thank you, Commissioner. Yeah, Mr. Landers, it's exciting. Your first couple shows, I'd encourage you to spend as much time as possible with Mr. Vela so we get this right the first time out. But I think it's a tremendous thing we're talking about. If there are no further questions, the chair would be open to a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that pursuant to ARS 5-227, 5-228, ABE, and 5-229, that we grant a new professional promoter's license to Mr. Michael Landers, doing business as Southeast Asian Arts Alliance, for a 2023 promoter's license.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have a motion. Is there a second?
I second the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Congratulations, Mr. Landers. We look forward to your first event. We appreciate your time.
Mr. Chairman, this is Chris Villareale. I just got on. I was having difficulty getting on the line.
Oh, we're glad to have you aboard. You have been approved in your absence.
Okay. Thank you. I plan on putting on a large event in September, so I'm glad to hear that.
Very good. Very good. We'll get with Mr. Vela when you can and secure dates, and we're glad to have you aboard. So anything we can do, let us know. I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you. Let's press on to B7. B7 is pursuant to ARS sections 5-227, 5-228 A, B, and E, and 5-229, the new license application submitted by Mr. Fabiano Aoki, doing business as Yukan LLC, for a 2023 promoter's license. Mr. Vela, will you speak to this application, please?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. So Mr. Aoki met with us in the office and presented his vision for his organization, his promotion, and he intends to do Muay Thai and MMA events. But he is what I'll say stood out to me about Mr. Aoki is that he's actually a former fighter, and he, you could tell that he has a fighter first mentality where he wants to ensure that the fighters get the very best, of opportunities when working with him. And so they submitted their application. Everything looks good, and I think that this would be a very good promotion to come to Arizona. So I do recommend their approval.
Thank you, Mr. Vela. Commissioners, thoughts about this application?
A plan for a first show, and what would that look like?
Commissioner, I'm sorry, you had cut out a little bit when you started talking. Could you repeat that?
Sure. I was just wondering if there was a planned first event, and what type of event would that be?
So Fabiano's on the call. Fabiano, are you with us? Can you hear us?
Yes, sir. Yes, I'm here on the Google call, and yes, I'm planning to do my first event, MMA and Muay Thai, in May 20th. That is our plan to start.
So it would be some MMA bouts and some Muay Thai bouts, is both professional, as I understand it?
Yeah, so I have to discuss with my team first about the MMA. I believe we're gonna start to do amateur first, MMA, and the Muay Thai I'm planning to do a professional bout.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for joining us, Mr. Aoki. This is Scott Fletcher. A blended event like that gives me a little bit of pause, because we're talking about potentially two different cages / rings, potentially personnel that can handle both disciplines as well. But it's exciting to have you here, and I'm glad you're pursuing this. I would encourage you to spend a good bit of time with Mr. Vela, so we can iron out the wrinkles before we get to May 20th or whatever your ultimate date might be. But Commissioner Pennington, do you have any thoughts?
I agree with you, Mr. Chairman. If they're planning on doing Muay Thai as well as MMA, they're going to have a large facility. I mean, they've got to have a cage, they've got to have a ring, they've got to have different officials, etc., different trained judges. So that would be, I think, a pretty difficult challenge from a logistics standpoint, whenever you consider having those two types of events at the same location at the same time. I have seen that on television, but it was through a large promoter, international promoter, and they had a cage as well as a ring set up. So having the two is, I think, a difficult challenge. I would recommend to Mr. Aoki that he focus on one or the other, instead of trying to bite off such a large bite at one time. So that's my comment and thoughts.
Thank you, Commissioner. I tend to feel the same way. It's a great idea. I applaud the idea, but we'd love to see you do one perfectly and then move further down the path. I remember Thunderbolt Boxing coming out of the blocks wanting to do an all heavyweight night, and I know heavyweights were hard to come by at the time. It didn't go as perfectly as hoped, but it's a fun idea. Anyway, I will stop right there. If there is a motion, the chair would be interested in it.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, go ahead, Commissioner Feinstein.
Sure. Pursuant to ARS 5-227, 5-228, and 5-229, I move that we approve the new license application submitted by Mr. Fabiano Aoki, doing business as Yukan LLC for a 2023 promoter's license.
Mr. Chairman, I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Terrific. The motion carries 3-0. Congratulations, Mr. Aoki. We look forward to your first event.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We appreciate your time. Let's move into C, our information reports. We have a number of events that have been approved. The following events were approved by the executive director from January 17th to February 13th, 2023, with the approval of a new or renewal approval of a 2023 promoter's license. The first was a request for Mochi LLC for approval of an MMA event to be held at the Stratus Event Center in Phoenix, Arizona on Friday, March 3rd, 2023. The second is a request from Iron Boy LLC for approval of a boxing event to be held at the Celebrity Theater in Phoenix, Arizona on Saturday, March 4th, 2023. The third is a request from Iron Boy LLC for approval of an MMA event to be held at Bellbank Park in Mesa, Arizona on Friday, March 17th, 2023. The fourth was a request from Del Sol Boxing Promotions LLC for approval of a boxing event to be held at the Glendale Civic Center in Glendale, Arizona on Saturday, March 18th, 2023. The fifth is a request from Rough Nation LLC for approval of an MMA event to be held at the Celebrity Theater in Phoenix, Arizona on Saturday, March 25th, 2023. And the sixth is a request from Rise Combat Sports LLC for approval of an MMA event to be held at the Rialto Theater in Tucson, Arizona on Saturday, March 25th, 2023. That's 6 events in March. So we are busy, and thankfully so. Mr. Vela, I do have one question. March 25th, you have 2 MMA events. Are we good there? One in Tucson and one in Phoenix.
So, Mr. Chairman, that was actually a typo on my part, and I apologize. The Rise Combat Sports event is actually scheduled for April 8th, 2023, which is a Saturday. So the Tucson event will be April 8th. I apologize.
Okay, great. I'm glad you got that sorted. We are popular. Careful what you wish for. It's a lot of events, and it's going to be a great March/April going forward. Any thoughts, commissioners, Mr. Vela, regarding our event reports?
Very exciting.
Indeed. Speaking of exciting, why don't we move on to C2, SportGait Concussion Protocol. Mr. Vela.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. So in our last regular meeting, I had mentioned about utilizing Impact for concussion testing. And after that, I was enlightened by SportGait's model, and we had a very good call with them. And I recognize SportGait because at the ABC convention in July of last year, we were presented by their founder, and he showed us the application. He allowed us all to have a 1-year free access to it, and I was impressed then. But once we sat down for a call with SportGait, the gentleman Joel Meyer, who represents SportGait, was actually a previous employee of Impact. He worked with Impact for nearly a decade, and so he had some very intimate knowledge of both systems, and he was able to really iron out and compare and contrast between the two to lay out kind of the bigger picture for us. And what we found was that not only is SportGait the less expensive option, but it's also the most advanced. They continue to update their programs based on scientific findings, the most current scientific research and findings. And their platform also allows for us to send the concussion protocol to athletes on their mobile device, and we're able to track that data internally. If a fighter is to be suspended with an injury or a concussive injury, we're able to, our ringside physicians are able to essentially schedule a rehab pathway for them so that the fighters can regularly check in with the commission, and we can ensure that they are improving and monitor that improvement until they're back to where they need to be in order to compete. The model is also gives us the capability of tracking non-concussive injuries. But what I think is the best part of it is that the test is actually shorter. It's about half the amount of time to administer, as the impact model. So it takes about 10 minutes. I have taken the test myself, the baseline screening. I've also shared it with Irania, who took the test, and it took us each about 10 minutes, and it gave us a very thorough report, which I shared with Commissioner Feinstein at our last event, and essentially this will help us to administer post-injury concussion tests after the bout during our post-bout assessments of fighters, and the post-injury assessment is also about 5 to 10 minutes long. So I think that this is a huge step in the right direction for Arizona. It's going to allow us to track, obviously, fighters' injuries and their concussive thing, but also ensure that we are that we're helping to monitor the most important aspects of what we do, right, and making sure that everybody's fit to compete. And the best news, I think, with this that I'll say for all the promoters on the call is that SportGait is affordable enough to where we are able to absorb it into our agency budget, as opposed to charging or upcharging the fighters or the promoters for the service. So ultimately, I think it's a win-win scenario all the way across the board. And right now, we're just waiting to finalize some of the internal vendor compliance tasks for SportGait. And once those are complete, we'll be getting started, which shouldn't take too long. I would say within the next month, we should have the system launched.
Thank you, Mr. Vela. Thank you for all your efforts in this regard. We've been talking about this for quite a while, and as a state that puts a huge priority on fighter safety, this is something that we have to do. The fact that we're not impacting promoters with any cost, the fact that we can get this done electronically and timely, there's a lot of best parts of this, but it's the best thing we can be doing. I can't thank you enough for your efforts in pushing this through. Commissioners, thoughts?
Mr. Chairman,
yeah,
I'd love to hear
Go ahead,
Commissioner
Mr.
Feinstein's thoughts.
Yeah, I first of all, very excited about the progress. I think this is, step one is to decide on a test that makes sense. And now I think the challenge is to build a clinical protocol around the tool that makes sense for our sport and for our combatants. And so I'd like to ask that Dr. Oda offline, along with Dr. McDougall and some of the other fight physicians, get oriented on the tool and then figure out how we want to use it. What are the intervals of baseline testing? What are the intervals of post-concussive testing? Do we need one post-concussion and before returning to the ring? I mean, there's a lot of unanswered questions. If SportGait is the tool and we are moving forward with the tool, then I think we ought to expedite our efforts to build a protocol around the tool and get our experts and physicians with that SportGait team to figure out the best way to implement a protocol.
Thank you, Commissioner. Absolutely, we need to build a system and people around us. I'm glad that we found a piece that we feel comfortable with, but it's going to come down to how we use it, where, when, and how. So more to come on that. We'd love to have you involved. Obviously, our ringside physicians need to be deeply involved in this. Mr. Vela, we'll look to you to kind of build that beast if you can.
Yes, sir, Commissioner and Mr. Chairman. I will certainly be working on, alongside our ringside physicians and all of you, of course, to establish what would be the best path for this program.
Okay, thank you. And one thing you might do, if you can, is send the commissioners what information you have on SportGait, just so we can get ourselves familiarized with it as well.
Yes, sir. I do have a login code that I believe you'd be able to access, and I will send that over today.
Okay, terrific. Commissioners, thoughts, questions?
Mr. Chairman, might I ask if Commissioner Feinstein would be the commissioner involved in working with the physicians to develop the protocol?
I think that makes perfect sense, Commissioner.
Yeah,
don't
I
want to
would-
volunteer.
Yeah,
I
go
would
ahead.
be happy to lead a work group offline that puts together the efforts around the protocol. So I can talk to Mr. Vella and Dr. Oda about convening that group. And what I'd like to do is to bring a protocol to this commission to vote on.
That would be
Super.
fantastic. We know how busy you are. We really appreciate your time and efforts on this, but this is critically important, and having you involved is so very helpful. So thank you. Consider yourself promoted. It's all great news, Mr. Vella, and anything you need from us going forward to get this thing rolling, please let us know. But again, thank you. I know you spent a lot of time and effort on this, and we're in the backstretch now and getting close. So keep us posted and let us know how we can help. Let's head down to D. Call of the public. Mr. Vella, are there folks who would like to chat with us?
Mr. Chairman, I do see a raised hand, but the title is unknown. So if you would please identify yourself. Oh, it looks like Bob Carmel. I see his camera now. Bob?
Yes, thank you. Bob Carmel, United States Muay Thai Association. I just wanted to thank the commission for approving both promoters for doing professional Muay Thai here in the state of Arizona. I've been working amateur fights with both promoters for a long time. Their shows are run great. They're a pleasure to work at. So I believe they're going to put on great events for the state. We've also been an ongoing process of training officials, both my officials, and we had a training workshop in February where we invited the commission officials also, who came and we went over some specifics to Muay Thai, and not only just rules and regulations, but things that go on in the locker room that are different with Muay Thai fighters than MMA or boxing. So we're trying hard to get everybody educated so that when the state stands up on a public stage, they look sharp and ready to go. Of course, I'll be around snooping in the background on all these events, and my services are always available to the state for help. Just wanted to thank you guys for doing a great job. And that's it.
Thanks, Bob. It's good to hear your voice. And thank you for years of effort on Muay Thai and some of the other disciplines. I think it's a special day having professionally licensed promoters, and having you involved is critically important to that too. So thanks for volunteering. We may take you up on that, but it's good to hear your voice. I hope all is well.
Anytime. Thank you.
Take care now. Mr. Vella, anybody else?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Mark Lorenzo is on and would like to speak.
Please. Mr.
Hello.
Lorenzo, please.
Good morning, all. I just wanted to introduce myself real quickly. First of all, I'm Mark Lorenzo. I'm from the United States of America Wushu Kung Fu Federation. We have been around since 93. I'm on the board there. And what we're looking to do is I'm about to send off the paperwork to be an outside sanctioning body in Arizona to be able to help with the events there. I'm a former amateur competitor, 65 kilogram national champ and world's bronze medalist, etc. So I've kind of been doing it for a long time now, kind of fading into the coaching and the other side of it. But I just wanted you guys to get a face to the name, and you're going to see me submitting some things. And hopefully we can move forward there. And, if anybody, Danny's been really helpful. Mr. Vella's been helpful, kind of guiding me with what we should fill out and everything. So we're going to be sending our packet in with you in the next day. And then hopefully maybe we can get on the agenda for next month. But I just wanted to say hi to you all, and also congratulations on all the events. And it looks like you guys have a pretty smooth running ship there. So we're excited to kind of partner up with you.
Well, fantastic. Thanks for chiming in, Mr. Lorenzo. More to come. Mr. Vella is a great source of information. Continue to work with him, and we'll look forward to what's put together for next month.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Mr. Vella? Anyone else?
No, sir, I do not see any other hands raised.
Okay. Item E is the call to the commission. Commission members or the executive director may introduce a summary of current events, ask questions, and or make comments. Anything we'd like to talk about? Mr. Vella?
Mr. Chairman, I would just like to say that I think that this agenda is just a glimpse of what's to come for 2023. We've been off to a great start, and we've had some really great internal processes improve that I think is going to help our promoters and everybody else to have a successful year. So I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you. And we appreciate your efforts. I know it's a handful with how quickly we're moving, but you've done a great job keeping all these people moving in the right direction. So we appreciate your efforts. Commissioner Pennington, do you have something for us?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Yes, Mr. Chairman. We have 2 new promoters that we just approved. In the past, we had requested that they have either cash or certified funds. That was not part of the motion for approval of either one of those 2. So I would just ask the executive director to be very cognizant of the issues concerning certified funds or cash, or making sure that the new promoters are capable of paying the event expenses. And so I just wanted to throw that out.
I appreciate that, Commissioner. Mr. Vella, can you speak to that?
Yes, sir, Commissioner. You have my word. We will ensure that we take all of our precautions to make sure that funds are available and certified. Mr. Chairman, I believe Mr. Estrada would like to speak as well. Irani has her hand up.
Of course. Mr. Estrada, are you with us?
Yes, sir. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Just, I guess, just want to echo again, a top rank event went pretty good. Saw no issues there. Staff did great. Also, to add to that, we've been getting complimented from other outside officials, which is a great deal here for us. So with that said, we'll continue to work on getting better to making sure that we offer the best customer service we can here. Also, as far as the Muay Thai regulation, we've done this back in the day with Mr. Carmel, where we haven't had any issues. I mean, they're great professionals to work with, great officials. We kind of have the same officials to an extent, but Mr. Carmel runs a pretty good ship. So I'm confident that if double events were ever to occur, we would be able to perform those just as we do any other professional combat sport. I mean, we got also a new member, obviously, Corey Schaefer, that runs the other organization. So we got resources if need be. Also, again, with continuing to improve, I know Mr. Vella and Ms. Felix have been working on forms that'll make it easier for promoters to communicate with us instantaneously rather than a daily basis. So again, they're doing a great job with that. And then lastly, I just want to let you guys know that Mr. Sarria was here in person. Once he heard his approval, he vacated, but he was very happy with getting approved. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Estrada, and thank you for your efforts. You're right. The Top Rank event went very smoothly. I did get some time with Bob Aram, and we're very well thought of, and they'll be back. So more to come. It's my angst about multiple events at the same time, and I probably will always ask that question just to make sure we're all good. But I have nothing but faith in this group and our ability to do double events. Nothing but good things heading forward. And thank you again for all your help. Commissioner Feinstein, anything you'd like to talk about?
I just had one comment, which is that this commission has done such an outstanding job. We've had national and international visitors come to our events in the last couple of years, and the hard work of the commission shows every time. I would just say the one place where we have done a fantastic job, but we've given others the opportunity to question our protocols around this work is with the scale. And so I wonder if we need to maybe formalize our process around the scale itself and how we demonstrate the accuracy of the scale before weigh-ins begin, how we manage the scale once weigh-ins start. Not that we've done anything wrong, because I know that we haven't, but just so we don't give people the opportunity to question the veracity of our weigh-ins, as has happened in a few different events with a lot of national attention over the last couple of years.
Thank you, Commissioner. You make a great point. It's something that concerns me as well, because I put this commission up against any in the world. I think we're as good, if not better, than anybody out there. And the scale's been called into question a couple times. I would love to, I know you're busy, Mr. Vela. I'd love to spend some time with you, because when it is called into question, it's important that the commissioners are able to stand up and defend whatever the number is that's come in. And so it's, I think, good for the commissioners to have comfort around scales and how we go about that. But you tell me, Mr. Vela, can we have a session sometime and talk about scales?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. You and I could meet offline and discuss some ideas for transparency and maybe some protocols that may help make our processes a little more clear to everybody.
Good. Let's do that. I'll contact you later, and we'll start down a path of getting everybody up to speed. Again, there's nothing untoward happening with our scales, but the more we know about it, the better off we'll be, I think, when and if someone cries foul. So I'll give you a call later on, and maybe we can sit down and talk about them for a bit.
Okay,
Commissioners, anything else you'd like to talk about? Okay, if there being none, let's press on. F is the announcement that the next regularly scheduled commission meeting will be at 10 a.m. on Wednesday, March 15th, 2023, and is subject to change based on a quorum. Leading us to G, the possibility of adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have a motion. Is there a second? All right. I'm gonna second that motion. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 2-0. We're officially adjourned. Thank you all for your efforts. Great things are brewing, as you can tell, and we're gonna have a great year. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.